What is going on, everyone? Welcome into Big Time Football Talk. So I wanted to touch on the first thing is I'm anxious about Michael Thomas's return at receiver for the New Orleans Saints. Played just 7 games, missed the whole season last year, played just 7 games in 2020. Had a serious, injured his ankle in week 1, and then it just turned into missed time with that, had a hamstring injury, so it was just an injury-ridden season in 2020, and then the ankle surgery required him to miss all of last season. But rumors now are not just rumors, reports. You can actually see that he looks, close to like the 2019 version of Michael Thomas, where you saw him just, tear it up and, get in discussion as one of the top wide receivers in all the National Football League. But, yeah, Michael Thomas, I've always took a shine to his play because he's not really – he does it with just, such detail, footwork, effort. And he is a very good athlete. He runs a solid 40. He's got decent speed, decent quickness, but he's never, he's really maximized his skill set to as fully as he can. And, his ability to, break, get separation using, subtle, sometimes it does, he can get away with a push off, but I think, that season when he was so hot, I think refs were giving him the benefit of the doubt. But, he's going to be hungry. He's going to be competitive. And, I think that the offensive line with them healthy, Jameis healthy, that, if he's going to have time to throw, Michael Thomas is just going to feast and, he's going to get open. And you saw that in 19, whoever the quarterback was, whether it was Bridgewater, whatever, you saw that offensive line gave them a lot of time. And, Thomas was able to get open time after time again. And, It's not just slants like everyone wants to say. It's in breaking routes. It's deeper slants. It's curl routes. It's fake in, outbreak. Fake in and cut out breaking routes. So it's exciting to see Michael Thomas practicing again. I know this hits home. I took him on my fantasy team last year and he missed all of last season, so that was a little disappointing. But that's neither here nor there, I guess. But point being is, the Saints, interesting team. It's a team that's been the salary cap has been an issue the past year, and a team that's done a great job in the draft. And you get Michael Thomas healthy to go along with what should be a pretty good defense that the Saints have. And it doesn't look like Alvin Kamara is going to be suspended, so excited to see Michael Thomas in 2022. Can he get back to 2019 form and get right back into the discussion as one of the top wide receivers in all the National Football League? So I wanted to get to, I saw a power ranking of, some of the top rosters in the National Football League. Obviously, the 49ers came in at number 4 in that power ranking. And the 49ers, when I took a deep dive in their roster, obviously I love their coach and Kyle Shanahan. I really like this roster a lot that the 49ers have. At tackle, Trent Williams. Trent Williams has been one of the best tackles in the National Football League. For a long time, still arguably is the best tackle in all of football. The interior offensive line's a bit of a question, but you got probably the best off-ball linebacker in Fred Warner. I would argue Micah Parsons, but Parsons, plays a little bit of an edge rusher. But, Nick Bosa, what a turnaround, the year after they took Nick Bosa. But, I've been listening to, Kyle Shanahan, 49ers Insiders, and, it's a lot of same recurring question marks. The interior offensive line's a question. Obviously, cornerback. Cornerback is a little bit of a question. No more Jaquiski Tart. They brought in Charvarius Ward from the Chiefs, but he's injured right now, so hopefully they get him healthy for week 1 of the NFL season. But, the 49ers, the big talk right now is Trey Lance. Sounds like he hasn't looked great in training camp. He's looked pretty solid. I went back and watched his 2 starts from last year, and boy, I do see some upside. I was not a big Trey Lance fan coming out of North Dakota State, but a lot of people have made the point that he hasn't really played a lot of football in the last few years, which is very true. Played just one game in 2020. You got to go back all the way to 2019, where he's really played a full slate, football season for North Dakota State. And Kyle, a lot of drafting him was a projection. You saw he was a good runner at North Dakota State, not great. It looks like in the NFL he'd be a good runner. Shanahan made some design runs for him this past season, and you see, he's got like what Herbert does off of play action. He can like reset and fire a laser kind of across his body and across the field, which is a huge skill, and it really puts pressure on the defense when you can make a throw like that. Does throw with a lot of pepper and spirals and a good size. The only thing about Trey Lance, I wish his release was quicker. It's not a very smooth, quick release. It's kind of like a whine. I don't even know how to describe it. It's like his arm really whips, and it's not as quick and as fluid as I'd like it. But you got to be excited of the direction that this 49ers team continues to go. Obviously, came just short of getting to the Super Bowl. This past season, lost the Super Bowl in 2019. The Jimmy Garoppolo situation is a little bit messy, but it makes sense. They're holding on to him to try to just savor the value that he would have if he gets injured or whatnot. But They, the defensive line should be good. Eric Armstead. They have Nick Bosa. No longer have Arden Key. Arden Key played some pretty good football. Samson Ibukam played pretty well. Hufanga, the rookie from USC, looks like he'll probably be their starting strong safety with no more Jaquiski Tart. And Ambry Thomas, the corner, last year's rookie, second-year guy out of Michigan, played some good football. So I see that they still do have Jason Verrett. He's on the PUP list right now. Hopefully get him healthy because, Verrett, when he's been healthy from San Francisco, you feel bad for the guy. His career has just been, so riddled with injuries, and it's too bad because of, the high-end talent the guy has. But when he's played, he's showed off his, what he can do in the playmaking ability he has. So, hopefully they could get Verrett healthy and get him off the PUP list. But, I love Kyle Shanahan. I love his play calling. I love the running backs, too. I went back. I didn't realize how good, Elijah Mitchell was and how good Jeff Wilson were last season. It's got to be, you got to be thrilled to have those two guys along with Trey Servant. And I forgot they drafted Ty Davis Price, who, if you watch Chris Sims' draft rankings, was one of his top 5 guys. And I didn't realize how good Ty Davis Price was. He really won LSU the Florida game and made a huge impact in a lot of the games he played. So, the offensive side of the ball should be fun. I actually was just reading a tweet from Brett Coleman that, Trey Lance will be, fun, but, maybe, up and down fun, whatever you want to use. A kind of a roller coaster, but we'll have some issues this year. And I couldn't agree more with that statement. But, it should be interesting. The Niners defense, I see teams move the ball a little bit more than I expected when I went back and watched the tape of last year. But they did kind of fit the mold of a bend don't break, and but they did get a lot of pressure, which is is key. The defensive line is going to be really good, and I'm a huge believer. Like right now, you look with the Lions and Atlanta. Ironically, they play tomorrow. Those are teams that, the Lions should be better defensive line, and Atlanta, the defensive line probably not much better. Those are teams that, really struggle to get pressure on the quarterback, and it showed in their performance of their team, even though Atlanta did win, 7 games last year, but it still wasn't a very good season by, NFL standards, which consideration to, 17 games played. So I guess, point I'm trying to make is the 49ers defensive line is going to be legit. It's going to be good. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see this team. I do think they can win the Super Bowl. I do think, even though you could argue, here's the thing, you could argue that Garoppolo's a better quarterback right now than Trey Lance, but I think Trey Lance, a lot of the plays he will make on the ground and, rolling out, those are a lot of things that, Garoppolo maybe could do it, but Trey Lance is going to be able to do it at a higher level. So I think, those extra improvisation plays that Trey Lance is going to make are going to add up, and it's going to be more, beneficial to this offense overall than what Jimmy Garoppolo could bring. And you got to think Garoppolo had him, just had him really close to winning a Super Bowl. And also last year they were, close to going to a Super Bowl. So Trey Lance, if he's, even a little bit better, that's definitely enough to get him, not only get him to the Super Bowl, but win him a Super Bowl. So yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm more of a believer now in Trey Lance than I thought I would ever be coming out of North Dakota State, and I didn't think they made the right move. I would have went Justin Fields if I was the 49ers and traded up all that assets, but Trey Lance is the guy, and Shanahan says he's going to play in the preseason, starting with the first preseason game. So it'll be very exciting to see. So next I wanted to touch on Baker Mayfield in Carolina this year. So, Baker Mayfield, I watch him and I'm reminded of Matthew Stafford, not in the sense that I think that Baker Mayfield's that as talented as Matthew Stafford. You feel like with Baker Mayfield, and I think this is why a lot of Browns fans like Baker Mayfield, you get a feeling that, as competitive as just, mentally, physically tough he is, that you have a chance to win every football game you play with Baker Mayfield out there competing. So that's why I think a lot of Browns fans took a shine to him and not just him, they're not just Browns fans, but the media still defends him to this day because you feel like, he's got, he will give you a chance to compete in every football game. But, has not been named the starter of the Carolina Panthers, but, it's very likely he's going to be the starter for the Carolina Panthers as they do face the Browns week 1. That'll be an exciting matchup, possibility to get revenge on his former team. So we'll see how this plays out in the quarterback battle against Sam Darnold. They also did draft Matt Corral from Ole Miss. So we'll see how this moves on. But Carolina's roster is not bad overall. You got guys like Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore. The defense is young, but it's hopefully continues to improve and get better. So we'll see how this plays out, and we'll see what Matt Rule has to say moving forward. That he released that on his press conference. Matt Rule, the head coach of Carolina, that it's basically ongoing competition, and they'll see after preseason who's going to win it. So next thing I wanted to touch on was the Atlanta Falcons. And I wanted to pose the question: is this roster as bad as most people think? Most people think this is a bottom 2-3 roster in the National Football League, and I will. So I'll go through it, and then I will answer that question. So we'll start at the offensive line. The offensive line has really been below average to average at best. Luke Matthews has been solid at left tackle, but the rest of the offensive line has been very average to below average, like I was saying. And if you lose Matt Ryan, and whether you like Matt Ryan or not, he was very, very solid quarterback, and he was a great leader, and he's showing a lot of his great leadership qualities right now with the Colts. And I think the Colts should have a good season with him. But wide receiver. Tight end, wide receiver, no Hayden Hurst there anymore. They do get Kyle Pitts, heads into year 2 after having a really good rookie season. We'll see if he can, become more of a red zone threat and continue to, get yardage. But also have Drake London, who they drafted. I love Drake London. I'll put my money on Drake London winning Offensive Rookie of the Year. I think that, even if this Falcons team is bad, I think he's going to be a threat in the red zone, and I think he has the capability to win underneath and rack up some yardage, even with Mariota at quarterback. So, yeah, the wide receiver core, no Kelvin Ridley suspended for the year, but they do have Drake London, Kyle Pitts and who else? They got guys like, Damiere Byrd, Brian Edwards. Brian Edwards pretty okay for the Raiders. So we'll see. Marcus Mariota, quarterback. Not a believer in Marcus Mariota. I mean, had some decent years in Tennessee. Played a little bit with the Raiders, but it's just, his I think we have seen the best of Marcus Mariota. I don't think it's going to get a lot better for him, even if he does. I think this year, I'll just make this point before I go through, the defense of Atlanta. I think that this Atlanta team will have some weeks where they might. This is not going to be a team that wins like 1 or 2 games. I think they'll win like 3-4 games. So I guess I'm kind of answering the question I initially posed, but I'll make this point. I think that they will feast on, a few of the really weak teams in the NFL that they play. I don't think do they play the Texans, but I guess the point being, I think they'll feast on a team that we thought would be like at least average, but they end up really being bad. Like I think New England is a surprise team that I think could be pretty bad. Like I think they'll feast on maybe a team like that. Who else is in the middle of the pack? So Atlanta. The defensive line really not good. You still got Grady Jarrett, who's been good for them for a long time. Deion Jones, who played really well early on with Atlanta, but has just been solid. Nothing spectacular the last few years. AJ Terrell at the cornerback position, one of the best. Established himself as one of the best corners in the National Football League. Have Casey Hayward at the other corner. They do have Richie Grant, the rookie last year from UCF. He played all right for him, and Eric Harris at the other safety. But I don't think the defense will be very good, but that is a huge luxury though, when you can have a shutdown corner like AJ Terrell in the secondary. That's a big piece. So yeah, the Falcons overall, I do think this is a bottom 2-3 roster. I think you're looking at a team that picks, maybe 3rd or 4th next year's draft, possibly 2nd. I think, when I look at a lot of rosters in the NFL, I don't think that there's many. I think there's many teams that can win at least 3-4 games. I don't think you're going to see like 1 or 2 just horrible, 1-win, 2-win teams. Maybe that could be Atlanta. Maybe that could be the Bears. I know the Bears roster, but I think this is at least a 3-4 win team. So I would bet their over and under comes in at 5. I actually would take the under for Atlanta, but I do think they do get at least 3 or 4. So. But to answer that question, I do think it is a bottom 3 roster. So Trevor Lawrence in the Jacksonville Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence heads into year 2 with the Jacksonville Jaguars team. Doug Peterson now the head coach. They took Trayvon Walker this past year as the number 1 overall pick, and it was very up and down for the Jacksonville Jaguars last year under the Urban Meyer experiment. So Trevor Lawrence, he's going to look to rebound this year. It's Chris Sims reported that he already looks a lot better as mechanics. You saw that at the end. I'll start at the end of the last year against the Colts. I thought that he looked a lot more comfortable. It looked like the blitz didn't bother him, and things were starting to slow down. And didn't really get frustrated with the pressure as much. So I think this year you're going to see Trevor Lawrence continue to play like he did in the last week against the Colts, where they upset the Indianapolis Colts and bounced them for the playoffs. But you saw earlier in the year, it was just very shaky. Even towards the middle of the year against the Rams, just obviously it was because he was under pressure almost every play with Aaron Donald and all the studs the Rams have on defense. But he always looked, not to say this is what happened, but he always looked like the pressure and then playing from behind, and the pressure got him playing anxious and playing like he needed to make a play almost every play, and but you still see he is a good decision maker. Made a lot of good decisions last year, even when he was under pressure. So that was that was a good thing. But, receivers just weren't getting a lot of separation. You saw Marvin Jones kind of became the go-to guy. They lost DJ Chark earlier in the year. But, that's not very good when you have a guy like, Marvin Jones having to step up. It just shows that there wasn't much of the wide receiver position. But they do get Christian Kirk comes in. They paid him big money at the wide receiver position. And I think the defense will be much improved, and I will think that will help, take pressure off Trevor Lawrence, because obviously he'll be trailing less, and he'll have more confidence that the defense will get stops. So he doesn't have to make a big time throw or drive the field almost every single play. But and Travis Etienne will be healthy. Those two in the backfield, have a lot of swag dating back to the Clemson days, and seeing those two will, be fun to kind of reminisce about their, college days, and cool to see them in the backfield again. Do have James Robinson as well at the running back position. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of optimism. There's a lot of pieces in place for the Jacksonville Jaguars to not only not only for Lawrence to have a better season and the offense to have a better season, but this team as a whole, and this team to be, one of the big time sleepers that, and a potential worst to first candidate in the division overall. But I like where, you got to like where Jacksonville is heading, kind of like the Lions. They are a team that, is adding pieces slowly, and slowly trying to shift a culture, and trying to just keep getting better, day by day and each season. And obviously with everything in place, there's a chance for a big stride this year for the Jaguars. But the Buffalo, so I was looking at top rosters. The Buffalo Bills come in with a top roster, and that makes sense. Kyle Elam is a guy they drafted at the cornerback position, who I think will play a big role for the Buffalo Bills this year. And I think it's hard to disagree that the Bills aren't the best roster in football. Josh Allen at quarterback, Stephon Diggs at wide receiver. You should get a healthy Tre'Davious White this year at corner. Edmonds at the linebacker position, Matt Milano, Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde, a nice safety tandem they have. It's there's a lot of reasons to like the Bills, and there's a lot of reasons to see why they come in as the Super Bowl favorites. But I'm not ready to bet the Buffalo Bills. I love how they played, obviously, last year. Don't get me wrong. Josh Allen, was fantastic in that AFC Championship game. It's too bad they came up just shy, and you didn't get to see, Allen in the Super Bowl. But this definitely is a roster worthy of the the favorite to win the Super Bowl next year. So it'll be exciting to see what they do, this upcoming season, and it'll be interesting to see if they meet Kansas City once again in the playoffs. It'd be something that they met them once again in the AFC Championship. So just wanted to touch on that. And that's all I have, guys. Thanks for tuning in to Big Time Football Talk. So I want to try to do a pattern here. So I like to try to do Monday nights. Like to try to upload a college football podcast. I'm trying to get full podcasts here. We're going to run about 25 minutes here. I'd like to make these at least 25, 30 minutes to an hour. So I'm going to do a college football one Monday, an NFL one Wednesday, and then an NFL draft, either a breakdown of a player or a position group, and rank my top 5. I'll do that on Friday nights. So but that's all I have for you. Thanks so much for tuning into this episode. Stay tuned for more clips and episodes for the show. Till next time, peace.